yoga. Trust me. And you know more than you think you know. You'll be able to do a lot of practice on your own. Even if, like I do, I plan for 10 minutes and then I get started and I may do a little bit more. So anyhow, yin, I guess we're close enough. We're going to start with bound to angle. Sit on a blanket if your hips are tight or your back feels more comfortable. Bottoms of your feet together. You can do it a number of different ways. You can stay straight and just lean forward wherever you can go. And some of you can lean all the way, a lot further straight than I can. So, you can keep your back straight, your sternum slightly lifted, and you don't want to look up, but you can look straight ahead. You can lean however far forward you can with a straight back, or you can round. Rounding stretches your back in a different way. So choose. Do both. See, I keep wanting to look at my phone. See how it feels. That is my phone. And hold that pose. Bound angle is a good first. We don't want to warm up the muscles, but we do want to kind of loosen up, especially in the joints when we do yin. But please don't stop yoga, i.e. do something that, if nothing else, I know a lot of you do other physical things, even walking and such. Don't forget to stretch. At our age, that is extremely important. And you can strengthen bones. You can reverse osteopenia and osteoporosis by stretching because it challenges the bones. But you can reverse those conditions without taking medications by doing yoga and doing other things, as it's easy to find out on the internet. But don't stop. And even if you do, for a few months or however long, come back to it. Don't think, oh, I lost it all. And when you come back to it, you're not going to be the same as when the last time you did it. That's okay. You will find that you will return to your previous state more quickly than you did when you first started yoga, if you can remember that. I can. So don't give up. Don't stop. We're going to have injuries. We're going to have surgeries. We're going to have things. And when you can, come back to a little bit. Do the upper body if you can't do the lower body. Or do the lower body if you can't do the upper. Do a little bit. Feel your way into things. It's really important for our quality of life that we can do things comfortably. And we're going to get hurt. I still do something that aggravates my back, so I have to back off some things and do other things a little bit less, a little bit lighter. But, that's life. We have a physical body. It's going to happen. It's always going to happen. So don't be discouraged. Boy, you're really going to want to put this one on silent if you watch it again. Hang in there. And if you want, you could start with a straight back, and you can always round down if you want. You don't have to hold the same variation of the yin pose throughout the whole pose. You can, you're still holding it for the full time. That's 3 minutes for those of you who are new or just coming back again. You're still working the same basic area, even if you do make adjustments. Same meridians. Randy Clark, I think. Yeah, he talks about the meridians you're working, the other parts of the body, like the liver and the kidneys and things like that you're helping when you do yin. When we first started, I was reading those things, but it's a little beyond the time limits, and then you have to kind of explain what meridians are and things. So look them up. Slowly back up. You can have your legs straight and rock them side to side, bounce them. You can have your knees bent and lean back and just rock a little bit, then press them to the floor. This is just to loosen up after sitting in bound angle. And tendons and ligaments, we stretch them, but they don't tend to stay stretched. But stretching them opens them up to blood flow. It opens up the joint to nutrition. So we do it, and it's like a temporary nice thing for the whole body, for the whole area, as we know, because we feel better later. But they don't tend to stay stretched. They're supposed to support the joints. But they may change a little bit over time. Okay, I have it all written down because I forget. Right leg straight forward. Press your right leg over the left at the knee. So the bottom knee is in the back, the bend part of the right knee. You can use a strap around your bottom leg. And I would recommend the arch in this case. It's going to be strong enough without pulling on the ball of the foot. And you can stretch straight down. You can cross it this way if you want. You can bring the foot back towards your right foot, back towards your left hip if your knee stays down. We want the pressure to be on the bottom leg. So in most cases, it's better to have the left leg, the right leg, which is on top, over the knee, and stretch straight down. And if you feel too much in the knee, put the left knee, put something underneath it, a rolled up blanket or a little pillow, because you don't want to pull on those muscles right at the back of the knee too much. Those are, again, tendons, ligaments. Stretch down. Hold the stretch. This is a strong stretch. I feel this stretch from the arch of my foot all the way up my leg to my hip left, the bottom. Hold the stretch. This is how some of you may vary when we do cow face legs. The other variation, of course, is to bend the knee, the top leg, to keep the bottom leg straight. However, in of itself, it is a great stretch, and it's different from cow face legs. It's more directed at the hips. This is the hamstrings. And I'll send you the Amazon link for the books and such that I recommend. And you can get a lot of them used now, especially the Rodney one that I really like that I'm going to recommend. You can get it used because it's been in print for a while. If it's been in print for a while, generally you can find them used. And going to the local bookshops. Fayetteville has although it's not a very big section because they sell quickly, but the bookstore on Dixon Street has a lot of self-help books, including yoga. But again, the yoga section can be kind of small, but maybe that's just to me because I have most of the ones they offer. So online works. And I did charge my phone up all the way, so I won't have to turn it sideways, which limits the viewing area as far as seeing my mat very well. By the way, I just found out because somebody else was talking about it. If you're on the, I don't know how to pronounce it, paleo diet, keto diet, or whatever, low carbs, um, you can have more muscle cramps, leg cramps. You need to take certain supplements and electrolytes, potassium. Look it up, Google it. Cramping on the paleo diet or keto diet or whichever. Because a friend of mine was asking about supplements for that, and I asked what has changed, because it just started with him. And I asked him what has changed, and his wife said, well, about that same time is when we started the paleo diet. I said, it could be that. But I didn't know in what way. But that's another thing to look at. If something changes, you haven't done anything to hurt, like if you haven't fallen or done a weird yoga pose or anything like that, think about when it started and what may have changed with your supplements, your diets, your prescriptions. My mother taught me that. Or she didn't teach me that. That's what she would do for us when we were kids. Okay, release and work it out. That makes an interesting noise. Okay, left leg over top. However, and you can still sit on the blanket. And remember, you don't want to feel too much happening right on the back of the knee of the bottom, the right knee in this case. Put a strap around your left foot. You can stay straight here too, and just like press your belly towards your left thigh or round down. Either way is good stretch, and it'll feel different. And do what works for you. Feel the stretch primarily in the hamstring, but you'll probably feel it in the calf. You may feel it in the hip. It's a good stretch. We may not like it, but it's a good stretch. I'm going to freeze for a moment. Not that you need to see me while you're holding a pose, but I just thought I'd let you know. Come on, wake up. Thank you. Okay. Interesting. I just realized I'm going to have a lot of casual wear to wear around the house or out. All my sweatpants that I wear in yoga in the summer or in the winter. These kind of things, tights. No, I'm not going to get rid of them. At least not right away. This week I did discover something. I went biking on Thursday. It was a short bike ride because they had part of it closed, so we just turned around. But I felt my left shoulder for the first time in a few weeks afterwards. So I'm not sure if it's handlebars or I really think it's lifting the bike up and putting it on the bike stand, which I mean, David would have done it for me, but I need to be able to do it. So, but it didn't last very long. It was just muscle sore from using muscles that I haven't used for a while. And I went kayaking yesterday. It wasn't a long, as far as kayak, we paused a lot of places and just floated around. So paddling wasn't long, except coming back. It got windy. And I was really concerned that I was going to tip at some points because I had to face into the wave as they came. And I wanted to go in a different direction to get back to shore. So I figured I'll just wait till I get close to shore and then it'll calm down, which it did. That's 3 minutes. And you're supposed to use your core more, which I tend to not unless I'm really thinking about it. It isn't automatic for me yet. It should be by this time, except I haven't focused on making it happen enough. So I need to be aware and focus on that more. So that it does become natural, and I always do it that way. But I had both shoulders taped up, even though they don't hurt anymore. I want them to not hurt in the future. So I had them taped up because I know I use my arms too much, and I was very pleasantly surprised that it didn't. I mean, I can feel some muscles, but it didn't aggravate my shoulders. And I have always have help carrying the kayak, even though it's my lighter one, so I can't carry it myself if I have to. Okay, that's 4 minutes. So I didn't do any of my other stuff. I didn't do my yoga that I started being good about on Monday, or the vibro shake floor, or anything. I had other things that I did instead. Work it out. Whatever feels like it's working it out for you. Okay, this is the nice version. Personally, I really don't like full frog. I don't think it feels good on my back. I assume it's good. It probably is good. And if I have a bolster, I might do full frog, but I wouldn't do it lying down. That's just too much for me. Maybe it's because of the curve in my back. I don't know. But anyway, we're doing half frog. Your right knee is going to be bent. And you can have the left leg and up to your rib cage, so your belly and everything is on a blanket or two or a bolster. And this bend at the hip is 90 degrees, and you want to have your foot so that the bend in the knee is 90 degrees. You may have to kind of check it out. And if you need to, you can always bring the knee up more. That feels better on the hip, so that the hip bend is a little bit more than 90 degrees or less, I don't know, depending on how you look at it. And bring the heel up in the leg, the shin out, so that's a 90-degree angle while there's your knee. But I do recommend, if you can do it lying flat down without a blanket underneath, that's fine. If it's more comfortable, you can just put one blanket, or you can put two, or you can put a bolster, from your whole body down, and like lay on it so it's more the body, and the leg can be off. Right here, right now, I'm stopping the blanket at my hip of my left leg so that my body is more lifted. That takes some pressure off your hip. And again, two here is good. And your head can also be on the support. So set up the way that it's going to work for you. Half frog, right knee is the bent one. So I don't get confused. I try to always do the right first. And it's a good idea when you practice on your own, make a note, say this time I did the right first, next time I'm going to do the left first, because I'm going to start the timer. Whichever side you do first does affect the other side that you're not doing, so that when you do the other side, it's not the same as it would be if it was first. If it hadn't had somebody, you, doing frog on the other side. I mean, it really does affect. So when you do it, change the side you do first. Do that with everything. I mean, it even if you do triangle to the right, which I always teach so that I don't get confused and forget which side we did or what we did, do it to the left first, because that will pull on your right hip and it changes things. So alternate sides that you start poses in. It is different and it really does. Your body gets used to it. You do always start on the same side, so the other side doesn't get as strong a stretch, or the same kind of stretch as the first side does, because the first side is going into it cold and new, and the second side is going into it after the first side has already been cooked. It's different. I hope that isn't too confusing. And you won't remember unless you decide that on the first time you practice, it's always going to be the right, the second time it's always going to be the left, that you start everything. And those of you who purchase YouTube videos to watch them, if you tell me which ones they are, they should be dated still. Even though I put a title on them, there should still be a date. If you let me know which ones those are, I will move them into a separate folder for you on my cloud from my computer, not from YouTube, and you can download them. That way you'll have them and you won't have to stream them. So just let me know which ones that you bought that you would like to download, or all of them. Just tell me what all of them were, and I will set that up as well. That's past 3 minutes, sorry. Hang in there. Okay, that's 4 minutes. You can just take that right leg back and lay on your belly, turn your head to one side. Remember which side you're turning it to, so you can turn it to the other side and rest that way. You can go back to child's pose. If you want, you can go real quick and over onto your back on your knees. I'm such a wuss as to my animals. Ziva's anti-barking color is just a vibration and a sound. And obviously, she doesn't care. It doesn't. I think it did kind of annoy her in the beginning, or she noticed it in the beginning, but now, and I don't know. I can't do the other kind of color, even if you can set it really low. Okay. Face down, all your props, your alignments, your whatever you're doing, your left knee is bent. Look at it. See if you can get the bend at the hip part, hip and thigh, making a right angle, 90-degree angle. Calf and thigh from the back, making a 90-degree angle, or bring your knee a little bit up toward your shoulder, not away, but up toward your shoulder. Will actually make the hip not as challenged. Bring the heel in closer to your leg. Will make the knee not as challenged, not moving it out, but bringing it in. So making the bend more, believe it or not. Helps. eliminate any if there's real serious aggravation. Okay, I'm starting timer. Half frog. I wonder what the word for frog is. I bet Amy knows. How's the word for frog? Krokasana. Ribbitasana. That's it. Ribbitasana. If it isn't, it should be. Yeah, I know. I should look it up. That's why I get in so much trouble. Pure, especially Iyengar people. Oh, jeez. If I would say ribbitasana, appalled. And you can see it really bothers me. Teachers, not the students. But Iyengar, I was going to do Iyengar style, but it was too. If you're a certified Iyengar teacher, you're not allowed to teach any other style. Not even to include something. So obviously that wasn't for me. Even if I have taken workshops from Iyengar teachers, that's different. It's not getting certified. And that is 3 minutes. This time I actually remembered, but we're going for longer if you're ready. I really should read the history of Yin Yoga because it seems to have just come on the scene, to me anyway, past 4 or 5 years, maybe 6 years. And it has to have been around for a while, holding them like this, certain poses. Okay, release, work it out. Although a lot of styles that we just take for granted are offshoots of other traditions that we in this country, teachers, kind of developed after practicing the original tradition for a while. They saw the need for changing some things, and they work. Working it out. We're resting in child's pose, or resting face down. Okay, now we're going to do the lunge with the arm down twist, not palms together. If you don't have a wall to put the back leg on, first off, you don't have to put the back leg on a wall. That really stretches the hamstring and the hip flexors. We're going to have the right knee forward, and you can have the back leg on a wall, and the right foot in the lunge, and you're going to lower down onto your forearm on a block or a blanket or on the floor, and have your right arm just laying over top of your right leg, and your hand down by the shin, so you're twisting this way. Okay, don't do it yet. Wait a second. If you're going to have your back leg, your shin up the wall and your knee on the floor, put a blanket underneath your knee. Really, I mean, you're going to be holding it for a while. You can do it with keeping your legs straight, and again, having your leg on a blanket. I mean, it's still a lot of pressure on the knee. It still gets to be too much. You can have your left arm on a block or on a blanket or on a blanket on a block. If you don't have a wall, you can always use a strap around your foot. But know that when you lift that foot up, when you're not putting it against a wall, when you lift it up, you may get a cramp in your hamstring. That's a normal thing. I get it almost every time. And putting the strap around the back foot can be a challenge in itself. So you might want to put the strap first, then the lunge, and then you'll have to probably hold the strap with the right hand, the left foot back, if you want. I mean, there are ways to do this. This is a little complicated. You have to have your shin straight up the wall. You could have your foot a little bit. See, it's not it's angled. It's not as hard to pull on the hamstring, but you're getting a little bit more of a stretch. You want this foot to be forward. Okay, all those things. Did you write all that down? Get into yours. Right leg forward. Left arm down. Right arm around the other leg, if that works for you. You can even just have your left hand on the floor if you can't get your forearm down, because holding it part way down it's gonna tire your arm out. Okay, I'm going to start the timer. Ready, set, go. And it's never a bad idea. It's always kind of a nice idea before class, before we start. When you have those few minutes when you're set up, it's just to sit cross-legged. If you want, or whatever's comfortable. Palms together in front of your heart. Focus on your breath. Focus on what you feel in your body. Set an intention for the practice. What areas, even no matter what we may practice, notice what areas that you want to change or help or feel better. Try to release any stress or tension as you exhale so that you can practice with more focus on the practice and on what you're feeling and on you. Those outside things, just let them go just for a little, just for this, the practice time. So take some time if you're here a little early to sit quietly and focus on your breath and maybe deepen your breath. Get some oxygen flowing into your muscles, into your bloodstream. And let your mind become a little bit calmer. It doesn't have to be quiet. Just let it be a little bit calmer. Just release some of the worries or the stresses. That's 3 minutes in any yoga class. When you go into, if you go into an outside class, sometimes people may be visiting, and sometimes you'll see people sitting quietly. And always remember that the people visiting don't need to disturb your quiet time. Actually, it's good practice to learn how to tune out that kind of stuff. When I was doing transcendental meditation, I still do it. I could do it in a bus station or a ladies' room if they had chairs. I could sit in a chair, in the entrance in one of the fancier ladies' rooms, or the airport. I just sit and close my eyes, focus on my mantra, and it was good practice. It was really good practice because then you can use that memory of being relaxed in chaotic situations anytime. Release. What are we doing? Oh yeah, the lunge. Child's pose, lay on your back, rock side to side. Do whatever feels right to work out wherever you felt this most. You can even massage the area because it's going to affect your muscles, whether you're going through the muscles or not. Okay, we better just go to the other one. Left leg forward, right leg straight back. However you're doing your version of this pose. Take your time getting into position. Don't rush it. Don't hurt yourself. Modify. This is not the same side. These are not the same muscle groups, tendons, and ligaments. So don't assume. Pretend it's a totally different person when you go to the other side. And I'm going to start the timer. Here we go. I think yesterday, Friday, was the first time I've ever, maybe the second. Well, I've been doing it for 6 years or so. Maybe the third. Not that I actually got up early to kayak. But I had a place to be in the afternoon, and I had said, no, I can't go. And then I thought, you know what, it's going to be raining all next week, and it won't kill me. I do tend to get up quite a bit earlier than when I have to leave so that I don't have to rush. I don't like rushing. So I'll get up earlier so I can take my time, become awake, have my coffee, do my stuff. So, I mean, it was 9 o'clock. It wasn't like it was 6 o'clock in the morning. But boy, the water was so calm in the beginning, and no boats. And Gary said, all the power boats show up at 10 o'clock. He said, I don't know what it is, but, and he was right. was like 10:03. The first powerboat came by, and then there was another one, and then there was another one. It was nice. It wasn't too bad. Don't tell anybody I said that, though. Getting up early thing. I think after today we have 2 more Saturdays. Is that correct? I think you don't have to answer. I can look it up. And probably 2 more Wednesdays. That's 3 minutes if you need to come out. Okay, release. Now you have a choice. You can just stay in child's pose for 3 minutes, or you can do a happy baby for 3 minutes. Whatever works for you. And if you can't hold the bottoms of your feet in happy baby, you can wrap your arms around from the outside, but hold your hands on the calves to keep the feet up so they don't sink down. That is what creates a good stretch. Or child's pose with your knees apart, kind of like a modified frog. They don't have to be that far apart, like frog apart, but apart so that your belly has room to breathe. Hold the pose. Or you can just lay on your back and hug your knees. Rock a little bit side to side. Maybe slightly less than 3 minutes since I went through all that talking stuff. I think David took my webcam to see if I really think it was the webcam that was causing problems because all the USBs couldn't have been all of a sudden going out. And it's hard to believe that a bad connection on something like that external can affect things, but it can. It's just like a printer. Anyway, it's all right. My camera's nice. Hello, camera. My phone. visited my friend that has the Dobermans. The three girls were there, and oh my God, they were so loving and so loving to be petted and wanted to sit right beside me or at my feet. And at one point, there was one beside me, and I'd reach down and pet the one at my feet, and he would put his head underneath and lift me up, saying, "No, no, pet me." And then my friend got up, Deb got up and walked, and the one beside me jumped down, and the one on the floor followed her, but the one that had been beside her scooched over to be beside me instead of following her. They were just so sweet. Oh my God, I'm in love. No, I'm not getting any more dogs, but oh, geez, they were just adorable. Okay, 3 minutes. We're done. Time for ball. If you're staying for ball. If not, you can just lay there for a while, relax, and watch us suffer. And if you are staying for ball, you can still lay there for a while because we do the same warm-up, and you may feel warmed up enough. Although these are different, they work different. So anyway, on the ball, start bouncing a little bit. This is really good. Just to do something like this is really good for the disc between your vertebrae because you're doing a little squeezing, extra squeezing on them to get out toxins. And then they expand back up automatically when the pressure's not on them, and they bring in more nutrition. And it's a good warm up for the legs. You can do this, a lot of this watching TV. What do we do when we watch TV? We sit there. So take a ball in. It doesn't disturb anybody. It shouldn't. You can do some bouncing and some circling. You can even turn it in such a way that you can do the crunches on top of the ball for the abs, side to side, while you're watching TV. When my classes are done, I will want to do something on the ball. And that may be what I'll do is I'll keep a ball in the family room. Although I could actually do something in the morning when I do my before. I guess before I do my yoga. A good warm up. Come back to center and shuffle. Hold on to the ball. If you're not used to it, touch your foot out. There's more rain. And stomp. Feet down, circle on top of the ball, hips back. Oh, I had a nice affirmation as to yoga. The husband of one of my regular yoga students pulled his back, strained his back, and she knew what to show him to do. And he did it soon enough so that if it was misaligned, it became realigned again instead of waiting, until it got used to being out of alignment. And it fixed it. That was so cool. I wish that always happened. It doesn't always happen, but it happens often enough. That's just the other way. Just is nice. thought of that to show them what to do. Back to center and go side to side. One more time, both sides. Come back to center. Hold on to the ball. Let's just do some seated on top balls stuff with the ball. So that you know these are things you can do. Again, if you're watching TV, hold the ball because you really do need to hold it for this. Bring your right knee up. Try to keep it lifted as you straighten it out. Doesn't have to get completely straight. Bring it back and up and lower down. This is lower abs primarily. Left knee out, up, and down. I keep thinking about those beautiful Dobermans. That was just delightful. They were just delightful dogs. I can see. I've always liked German Shepherds, and I like terriers as well. But for big dogs, I've always liked German Shepherds. But I don't know. They were just special. German Shepherds are kind of serious. I mean, they're fun. They'll play, but they're kind of more serious. The Dobermans were more fun. Hello? Oh, hello. Maybe somebody joined us or somebody went. Either way. Left leg, one last time. Okay. And we did a lot of seated ones, I think, 2 times ago because last week we didn't get it done. So let's do face up on the ball. I'm not going to change out the class so completely that we don't still do some of the good ones. We may repeat them, but they're what they are. We don't want to miss them. Roll forward until you feel your low back supported. Let's curve there in your low back. And my shoulder, when I'm lifted like this, my shoulder blades aren't touching the ball. So you don't want to be too far forward. And you can see my butt's lower down. I'm not trying to keep it up. I'm just letting everything rest on the ball. Fingers behind your head. And just go back to straight. If you really need to, you can arch all the way back, but just going back to straight keeps your abs active the whole time. Upper abs. Try to focus on right below the ribs. Try to pull them in as you don't lift up to seated like this. You may think you're doing more, but you're not. You want to isolate and work just the upper abs. Pull them in. You can also lift straight up rather than curving, which really works them. And keep going. Yes. I'm going to sit and watch you so be sure you're doing everything right. Pull on your head to support it. And again, if your shoulders aren't comfortable with fingers behind your head, hold a strap behind your head, not on your neck, on your head. And you can use that to support your head, and it won't strain or bother your shoulders if your shoulders are tight or painful. Yes, that was something I had to come up with because it was uncomfortable for my shoulders for a while there. Okay, one last time, arms out, elbows bent. Don't flap them forward and back. Just keep them straight out and crunch. This is just for extra weight. You do this, you're kind of helping yourself. And, you know, if you need to help yourself, go ahead. But again, you can lift straight up, or you can curve a little bit. Use your mind, your focus on your body to focus on right below the ribs. Pull those abs in, above the navel, below the ribs. Crunch. Make it work from the inside. Excuse me. Here we go again. Okay, arms overhead, and you can bend the elbows. And try to have the arms overhead, or just as best you can. You can have one hand behind your head if you want. Keep your arms alongside your ears and cheeks as you crunch up. Don't wave them forward unless you just absolutely can't do it any other way. Just do 6 of those at your own speed. When you're done doing the 6, put your fingers back behind your head. Excuse me, and roll down and roll back up. Stretch your back a little bit. And you can do those kind of crunches holding the weight. I would recommend you only hold the weight like here, cross your arms. You can hold one weight or 2 and do the crunches that way, that extra weight. You don't want to sit all the way up, but don't do them this way with weights, and never do them this way with weights, right? Okay, let's roll forward so your head is supported in your back of your shoulders. You're not tilting your head back. You're just like your head is on a pillow. Your knees are over your heels, and lift your hips enough that you feel your glutes working a little bit. And then lift them just a tiny bit more and release. So just squeeze the glutes a little bit more and release. It's basically a glute squeezing. It's not even much of a lifting. Don't lower down. Just relax the glutes a little bit. And I call it lifting. It is kind of, but really not much. You can see I'm not moving much. 4, 5. You can have your hands down, hands on your belly. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now I would recommend you put your hands down, and your feet a little closer to each other. Bring your right knee in and touch it down. Left knee in and touch it down. Now you can also do right knee in, leg up, knee in, touch down, left knee in, leg up, knee in, touch down, or right knee in, right leg out parallel, right knee in, touch down, left knee in, parallel, in and down, or you can alternate. Keep going. But those are, just so you know, some options of what you can do on the ball. And know when you do download these, I mean, as I said, I'm going to try to label them. Some of the stuff, the label could be really long. You can always change the name after you're downloaded so that you name it something that will click with you, so you'll know you know, the whatever the important stuff was that you may want to review later. You can always rename them. Or something. Okay. Release. Face down over the ball. Now we know about leg lifts with our toes touching, our arms straight down from the shoulders and not bending the arms. See how that lifts your legs anyway? Keeping your arms straight. And we know to roll the ball back a little bit because if it's way up by your chest, it's really, really hard. You're going to strain your back. It's hard to lift your legs. So you need to be forward a little bit. Okay, we know that, right? And well, let's do this, even though we know it pretty well. Separate your feet somewhat. And do the twist. Lift your right arm up, but don't press it back. Don't pull on the front of the shoulder, just as we don't want to do that in hatha. Up, strengthening the mid and the upper back, and keep doing that. That's an area, the mid back is an area we don't pay much attention to because it doesn't ever hurt, at least not very often. Even the upper back. You know, we may have neck issues that could be because of the upper back, but really, so we need to try to do some things to keep it strong without aggravating anything. And part of that is the way the structure of the vertebrae. At one point, it changes from being over the bottom one is over the top of the top one. And it changes where the top one is over the bottom over the top of the bottom one, so that you can bend the spine in certain ways. And where it changes, it's most delicate, easiest to hurt. Okay, release. Now, push the ball back or walk forward so that your legs are lifted. Your thighs are on the ball and your knees are just starting to touch the ball. The ball is not on your shins. That'll strain or can strain your back. The other thing you need to be aware of is don't let your back be like mine is now. Pull your abs in and lift it up a little bit. Try to keep your abs active. Try not to let your low back sway down. That'll start to aggravate it as well. So keep your abs just pulled in from the inside. Try to keep your low back lifted a little bit. And let's do 3-part push-ups here without your elbows going out. They go straight back. So your upper arms are parallel to the edges of the mat. And they go straight back as you lower a little bit more, a little bit more. Come up. If you lower them straight back, you're going to work your triceps, the back of the arms, where we always want to work. Watch. Keep your abs firm so that when you come up, you keep that back slightly lifted. Yeah, I know, not core, right? But something we still want to do. Oh boy, do I feel this. One more time. Now, this is one that those of you who've been doing this with me for a long time have been missing, probably because I haven't been doing it. Roll-ups. Again, you start here and you end here. And you start, again, your back is a little bit lifted. So you have to control and think about it as you do it. You don't just flop up and flop back. The flopping back part is what it's really fun. But we don't want to do that because it can hurt your back. So you're going to try, and if you're just new to this, just lift your hips a little bit and bring your knees forward, like we're going to go into child's pose, and roll back. If you're more used to it and still do it slowly, roll it up, sit toward your heels, and roll it slowly with control back so that when you reach that back point, your low back is lifted a little bit, and your abs are firm. If you go back too fast, you'll forget about that. Your low back will take a jolt, arching downward. You actually feel pain almost immediately. Just do slowly control both directions. Keep going. We don't have to pull up our pants after that one. Keep going. It's a fun one. There's a lot we can do with rolling forward stuff, but I'm not going to do it. It's not necessary. It does challenge you more. They are harder. It works your muscles more, but it's not. You'll get plenty of workout without doing the other things that we do with this, like rolling forward one leg or rolling forward sideways. It can hurt your back if you're not careful. It's not worth taking a chance. Okay, roll back and just hang down over the ball. Let your feet touch the floor if they do, or if the ball's a little bigger, your feet may come off the floor. You can bend your knees rather than have your knees hyperextending. If your feet are off the floor, bend your knees up towards your butt. Just hang down over the ball. Stretch your back. Back stretches are good. Again, I'm going to freeze for a second. I apologize. I'll be right back. Okay. Now, I did say something about doing this. If you don't have a wall, you can do the edge of your bed, or you can just keep your feet down and you can lift your legs instead with your toes touching, and lift your legs not up high, just up to parallel. Otherwise, you're behind the ball. Your feet are on the, in my case, the edge of the couch. It has to be something that isn't going to move, so it can't be a light chair. My toes are on the floor. You want to be sure your toes stay on the floor when you're doing this. Again, you can be doing regular leg lifts instead. And you can watch this so you can see what to do with a wall or something you can put your feet against. Lean forward. Separate your legs a little bit more than hip distance. Push the ball back. Again, not back too far, not so that your knees are, even the tops of your knees are touching. I keep my legs slightly bent so that I'm kind of hugging the ball with my body and my thighs. And again, my legs are apart. And always kind of check to be sure you're not going to roll forward onto your nose, right? If you find yourself rolling forward, move the ball forward a little bit toward your chest and adjust. And then, again, my knees are bent. Hands on your low back, palms up, lower down, lift. Don't arch. Try to stay kind of like a straight spine. There will be a little bit of an arching because your back does, low back naturally arches. But feel it, tighten your glute muscles. If you tighten your glutes, that'll help you protect that low back SI joint area. You won't overarch as much, and it'll be protecting it even if you do. Feel it in your hamstrings, your butts, and your low back. Keep going. This is a really good one. And this is one that it's not intuitive when you do stuff on the ball. Some of the other stuff you might be able to figure out, but this one's, wow, not intuitive. Well, we're moving right along. Huh. That's all right. We're going to do the other thing. Since we're doing wall stuff, we're going to do the other thing too. Again, just watch if you can't do because you don't have a place to put your feet, or you know, you can do leg lifts one leg at a time and squeeze your legs together in those, which we do. Okay, arms out, elbows bent. This one, again, don't squeeze your shoulders, and just lift and lower down. Try to keep your arms neutral. All they're doing is adding a little bit of extra weight. I would not recommend this with weights at all. Don't arch up, lifting and opening your chest, not too much. You just want to strengthen. Don't arch, focus it all on the low back. It's getting it. It's getting work. but don't do more than it would be good. Okay, this time just 5. Arms straight ahead, arms alongside your shoulders. If you can't have your arms straight ahead, put them on top of your head or a little bit with your elbows bent. Go down, come up. Again, that's extra weight, a lot. This is hard. Do 4 or 5, and then just hang down over the ball. You can let your feet move up the wall a little bit. You hang down over the wall or not. Hang over the ball. I mean, stretch your back. You need to stretch it the other direction. We've been doing a lot of arching and lifting. Stretch it the other way so it doesn't tighten up. Hang over the ball. Hold that for a little bit. We're going to do the sideways things on the ball. They're hard. It's hard to set up correctly with them. I will show you the front of me and the back of me when I set up so that you can see how my feet are, hopefully. Can you see my feet? Yeah, I think you can. Enough. And I will describe it as well. I'm going to turn this a little bit. I hope it doesn't flip my phone. Turn it just a little bit. Easy, nice phone. Okay. Okay. Enough of the rest. You're going to be sideways. Let's do it with our left side down so that I don't get confused as to the description. So you're going to lay sideways. I start kneeling behind the ball, and then I roll, put the ball down at my waist, so it's on my lower, well, it's on my lower 2 or 3 ribs. And the top leg goes in front, and again, they're on the wall. Top leg is in front. The heel of the top leg is about a foot away from the toes of the bottom leg. The bottom leg stays bent. Again, I'm going to turn over and show you this. The bottom leg stays bent. You have to adjust, again, so you feel balanced. The ball may have to be a little forward, a little backwards. You want to try to stay sideways, not face down, but sideways. If you start to roll forward, you need to move the ball forward a little bit. If you start to roll back anyway, your fingers are going to be behind your head or on your shoulders. You can lift up sideways, little lifts. Now wait, don't do it yet. Your left side's going to be down. I'm going to change. I'm going to put my right side down, but I'm going to do it so you can see the back of me. So my top leg is again in front and straight-ish, but see how much my bottom leg is bent. So it's kind of holding. And when my arm is down, the ball is not in my armpit. There's space here. So I don't have the ball that far forward, right? And my bottom leg is on the wall. My top leg is, well, maybe the ankle is touching. You want to go straight sideways as best you can. Do it slowly, do it carefully. Okay, left side down first. Figure it out. Feel it. Find the way. Do some lifts. Sideways, don't lift up high. Just work your muscles, just gently. As this area gets stronger, as you get more used to doing this sideways thing, and don't avoid it completely. I tend to avoid it a lot. Try to do it, no, I don't know, every other week or so, whatever. Do it like 5 lifts, should be enough. And then change sides, because it takes a while to get set up. So just do 5 sideways lifts. This really works the waist muscles and these hip support muscles on the side. What do we do that actually works these muscles? Not very much. If we do it anything sideways, lifting up, we need to be real careful. So change sides. Do the other side. Again, do 4 or 5 lifts. Carefully. One side's going to feel different. Don't hurt yourself. If it isn't going to work, don't do it. If it doesn't feel right. If you're back is aggravated for some reason. Don't do it. Pilates helps yoga a lot. I mean, you can see how this can help you get out of triangle with more comfort. You have muscles to help pull yourself up. A lot of the things we do in Pilates really helps your yoga practice, and vice versa for sure. Okay, you're done. I'm done. We're done. You have a wonderful rest of the weekend and start of next week. And I will see you. I feel like Captain or whoever he is, Mr. Rogers. I will see you on Wednesday. Captain Kangaroo, that's it. Have a great weekend. Oh, it's not. I can't do it on the computer, Pam.